Welcome to episode number 2 of Jandas World. I'm Jeremy, and I'm joined by my co-host, business partner, best buddy, big brother, Adam.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
Oh, okay. We are Jandas World, and we're very giggly this morning.
It's a giggly morning.
We are resellers on eBay. We love selling crap, junk, schmatas,
Yeah, all of the above.
whatever we can sell.
Whatever we can find, we'll sell it.
Right. And we had a lot of fun doing our last podcast. We had about, so far, I think it's 7
7 listeners.
7 listeners.
So we're gonna just thank you all by name. So thank you, Mom. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Lois. Thank you, Julio. Thank you, Jim. And thank you, Bertha.
Okay, cool. So today we're going to talk about something really fun. When we started doing this a few years ago, we were recording everything that we purchased along with the prices and the prices sold. We stopped doing that a long time ago because it became too much, but something that we always talk about right now is those were like the good old days where we would buy something for so cheap and we'd sell it for so much, and like everything would sell.
Everything.
And it would be quick.
Everything sells.
Everything still sells. However, I feel like now we think it takes a lot longer.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do now is we're going to look at our spreadsheet that we have, and we're going to talk about some of these items. And I think that will help people too. We're just moving some chairs. And
Chairs are really noisy today.
we're gonna maybe help people figure out certain things that sold a few years ago, but I'm sure they still sell now. But so let's go through some interesting things. The first one I want to start with is a really funny T-shirt that I remember you bought this, and I was like, "What are you doing? Why are you buying this macaroni and cheese T-shirt? No one's gonna buy it. You spent $2 on it," and I was like, "This is such a waste of money." But I think within a couple of days, we hear the cha-ching for almost $25 for that macaroni and cheese T-shirt.
That's right. Craft dinner.
People love their macaroni and cheese. Actually, we call it in Canada craft dinner, right?
Right.
But in the States, they just call it macaroni and cheese dinner.
Oh.
I think it's that. I think they call it macaroni and cheese
Correct us
dinner.
if we're wrong, 7 listeners.
Mom can't count.
Mom can't count.
Carl doesn't know either.
Carl's from
Okay,
England,
we're screwed.
So that doesn't count. So you know what? There's one on there in particular that I was really proud of, and that was the Polaroid camera that I found at a Value Village. It was new in box, and it was the most expensive item we ever bought from a thrift store. I paid $10.50, and we sold it for about $95, and the customer didn't pay. And so we relisted and sold it again, and we ended up getting $112, including the shipping charge. It cost about $10 because I insured it to ship. So that was one of our best. I think that's, to this day, is still one of our top 20 thrift store finds and flips ever.
Another one that sort of stands out for me, if anyone is a hockey fan, we find a lot of hockey stuff here in Canada.
Yeah, that's all they have up here.
And we found this Montreal Canadiens Carey Price T-shirt. Carey Price is the goalie of the Montreal Canadiens. He's a very good goalie, but it was just a basic, like a T-shirt jersey type of thing. Nothing special about it. It sold to someone just outside of Montreal, and they paid $29 for it, which to them would equate to, let's say, around 35-ish. We paid $2.80 for this shirt. But to me, I couldn't believe that someone just outside Montreal would pay so much for that shirt. I think that they could just drive, 15 minutes to a local sports store and buy the same one brand new, probably for cheaper
Definitely cheaper.
or around the same.
Yeah.
Brand new. So go ahead.
I was a big fan of this jacket that I bought. It was what are those shiny jackets called?
Like
nylon?
a nylon jacket.
Nylon
yeah.
jacket. It was bright orange, and it had the Steel logo, like the chainsaw company.
Stiel.
And I brought it. I paid $7. I brought it home, and I told Jeremy this is going to be a home run. He, of course, thought I was crazy, and it sold. It sold a few times, but finally, after the last time it sold, we got paid, and it sold for about $75. So that was a nice flip.
So I have another, staying on the jacket theme.
I know where you're going.
When I first started, I think this is the very first time I went to a thrift store, by myself at least, and I saw this interesting jacket. It looked like it was from like the 70s or the 80s, and it was a similar nylon jacket, and it said Yamaha drums on the back of it. And it was like this bomber style, old looking jacket, just said Yamaha drums, really big on the back. And I remember looking over this jacket, and I just walked away without buying it, and I was really upset with myself. Oh, by the way, this store that I was at, it was about, let's say, a 25-minute drive from my house. So the next couple of days, I couldn't stop thinking about the jacket, and I went back, and it was still there, and I bought it for $6.99, and I sold it within a week for about $60.
Nice. I didn't think you were going to that one. I thought you were going to be talking about the Michigan Mickey Mouse windbreaker.
Oh.
Which I know was a big favorite of yours. You paid $9, and it was a picture. It was like Michigan, University of Michigan, so blue, navy blue and yellow. And on the back, so it was a vintage jacket, and on the back it had Mickey Mouse carrying a football, kind of like in the Heisman pose. And you loved it the minute you saw it. I thought you were going to leave your wife for this jacket. You paid $9, and it sold, I think, about 8 months later, but you got around $80 for it. So
Yeah, I remember that one taking a long time to sell.
longer than we anticipated, for sure.
Right, but we definitely got the right amount for it that we wanted. I want to go back to t-shirts because I thought this was a cool t-shirt that I found. It was an In-N-Out Burger t-shirt.
Oh, I love In-N-Out Burger.
And we paid $3.99 for it, and then it sold for about $20 within, I think, 2 weeks. So that was an interesting little t-shirt flip. Okay, so now we're going to move on to some cool pickups of the week.
Yeah, so we're taping this on Friday, and on Wednesday I spent the day outsourcing. I went to 5 different thrift stores, and typically I wouldn't be able to go to 5, but I tried something different. Instead of spending a few hours in each store, I wanted to get in and out as fast as possible and see how I do in comparison. So typically we would go together for 2 hours, and we'd come out with around 50 items. I spent about 45 minutes in each store by myself, and I only came away with 10 or 11. So not as good as I would have thought or would have hoped, but still got some really cool things, and thought maybe I'd just talk about 5 of them. So the first one I got was at a Salvation Army. It was a New York Islanders hockey jersey. As you can see, we get a lot of hockey stuff in Canada up here. So it was a New York Islanders hockey jersey, brand new with tags, for only $7. And so,
what do you think you're going to get for that?
I think we're going to list it for $100, and probably take a best offer of around $70, $75. So that'd be really good. The second thing is on the hard goods side, I bought a Moen tub shower trim kit. I don't know exactly what that is, but I did a quick search while I was in the thrift store. I picked it up for $5, and it looks to be brand new in the package. The package is open, so we're gonna have to disclose that, but I think we'll get around $50 for it. The next thing is a winter jacket, and this is a really popular brand, but for the life of me, I cannot pronounce it. So what we did was we went on YouTube, and there's a thing called how to pronounce whatever word or brand it is. So we'll let the fine folks over at YouTube describe the jacket for us.
Arc'teryx.
Arc'teryx. So this Arc'teryx jacket had been at this thrift store at least a month, because the last time I was there, it was still there, and they wanted $20 for it. And that was just too much for me.
But also, I didn't want to buy it for a certain reason.
There was a certain reason, which I
besides the $20,
totally forgot about. But I went to the cashier, and I said, I'd like to buy this jacket, but I will not pay this amount. Is there anything you can do for me? And they took it to the back, and they came back and had a new tag on it for $13. I brought it back to Jeremy, and he said, "You know why I didn't want to buy it other than the price?" And he told me,
The sleeves were like hemmed really, really short.
so it's a
It was-
2XL, and the
It
sleeves.
was a massive jacket, and the sleeves were like 3/4 length sleeves.
So you said George Costanza could wear.
Yeah, it's for a stocky man. So I'll definitely have to put that in the listing and make sure that the person who's buying it knows the sleeves are short, and they'll be able to measure their sleeve length and
Right.
compare it to what we have.
But we paid $13 for it, and we're hoping to get.
Yeah,
around-
so that's really cool. I mean, I don't think you can do that at Value Village and Savers, but if you're at Goodwill or Salvation Army,
Sally Army.
Sally Army, don't be afraid to ask for a discount. A lot of times they'll give it.
They were really nice about it, and so we think we're going to get $80 for it. They were really nice, when I was talking to them. And while I was waiting for them to come back with the jacket, they had brought out a cart with new stuff on it, and there was a couple boxes of golf balls. So I go to the golf ball, and I'm looking at it. They were asking $8 for this box of Titleist golf balls, which is, if these are brand new golf balls, that's a very good deal. Like, we'd definitely be able to flip those and flip them fast.
But you couldn't see the balls, right?
I couldn't see the balls. It was like the box.
They had wrapped it up?
They wrapped it up in like packing tape. So I was like, I'm not gonna get, like, I've been burned before at these stores where you buy something thinking it's in the box and then it's empty.
Right.
Like, I could feel the weight. There's something in it, but
you don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what it
is. Could be a
is.
bunch of potatoes.
It could be a bunch of. I said, like, it could be rocks or something. So I start like unraveling the tape and yanking it and ripping it and looking at the balls, and then somebody else who works there comes over to me and she's like, you didn't have to like rip that and open it. And I was like, yeah, I did. And she's like, why? And I was like, I wanted to know what was in it. And she's like, it's clearly golf balls. And I'm like, well, I don't know that for sure. And she's like, well, we price it at thrift store prices, so you're kind of like taking a shot. And I'm like, well, I've been burned before. And she's like, well, what did you think was in it? And I was like, it could be rocks for all I know. It could be used golf balls. And then I show her. I'm like, look, this is not Titleist. This isn't a Titleist sleeve. This sleeve has only got 2 balls. Like, it was a disaster. So clearly I left it.
She was probably the one who just wrapped it.
Just like 5 minutes ago.
She was probably so upset to see someone undoing her hard work.
Yeah. So I'm totally comfortable opening it and taking the heat, but
I think everyone in the store should be able to inspect any item they want. Everything is secondhand in there.
Yeah.
And you should know what you're buying before you buy it, regardless of thrift store pricing. And
Right.
by the way, Salvation Army, you don't know what thrift store pricing is
Right.
because you're fleecing people.
on fleeces. and like, it'd be like buying electronics and then not letting you plug it in to test it. So they let you do that. I don't see why they wouldn't let me look inside,
Right.
look under the hood,
They probably shouldn't have wrapped that up.
or yelled
the way
at me,
they did.
or yelled at the customer.
Yeah, maybe they should have helped you unwrap it.
Right. Like, what if I needed those to play golf today? Anyway, moving on. I found a really cool, at the same Salvation Army, I found a really cool vintage Tommy Hilfiger hat. It was bright green. It had the lion crest right in the middle, the old logo.
It is a cool hat.
It's a really cool hat. I paid $2 for it, and it should sell really fast for about $30. And
Nice.
then at one of the other thrift stores I went to, this was a Value Village, I found a Burberry jacket. And of course, Value Village, they know everything about brands, and they also know how to charge crazy amounts. So they priced this jacket at $28.
Listen, everyone knows Burberry.
Everybody knows Burberry.
So
It's not
you're
like
going to
I-
get high prices on an item like that. So make sure you inspect it over. Make sure it's real.
Yeah. So
This one looks amazing.
I feel like I know Burberry really well and can tell a fake from a real one. We've dealt with Burberry for years. This jacket is unbelievable. The detail, the quality.
It's a really nice jacket.
It is a beautiful jacket. I'm so upset it's a large. I wear a medium, or I would have just kept it for myself. But it's awesome, and we're gonna try to get $150 for it. So that'd be a really cool flip.
So it's worth paying up sometimes when the return is there.
Oh, I mean, I think that goes without saying.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about some of our cool flips of the week. So
We need
Oh.
some theme song for this, like cool flips.
maybe one of our listeners can,
Carl, Mom.
Okay, so we went to probably one of my favorite thrift stores with a 50% off coupon. So we got some really cool deals. This was last week. So this is one of the items from that 50 off deal. It's a Wolford shirt. I bet you a lot of people are like, well, Wolford? Like, what's Wolford?
Don't they make stockings?
They make stockings, and they make pretty high-end stockings, like really expensive ones.
$70 at Nordstrom. new.
Yeah, that's really expensive. So I didn't even know that they made tops. Like I had no idea. I saw this shirt. It's 50% off, so it was relatively cheap for us. So I picked it up, and within a couple of days, it sold for full asking price, which was $27 plus shipping.
So 32 total.
Oh, sweet, plus shipping.
That is a win.
This one you also picked up at the same store.
Yeah.
I didn't know you even knew about this brand, but
Super Dry?
yeah,
Super Dry. Yeah, of
it was
course.
new to me recently.
Of course I knew Super Dry. I think I saw it on Instagram or something.
Well, it's a great size, 2XL. It's just a t-shirt,
But the quality and like the softness of this t-shirt.
You just knew.
Like
you could tell.
Like before you even see what it is, like you feel it and you just know you're dealing with like something that's expensive to start. So picked it up. I think it was $2 after the discount, and it sold
about $27 for it
within a week.
Nice. So good t-shirt flip there.
Good t-shirt flip.
This was a good sale for us because we had it listed for a while, and we've had a lot of offers on it. So this is a pair of Jimmy Choo sandals, heels,
Stiletto
whatever.
heels, yeah. Strappy sandals, I think they're called.
But there's so much damage to the heel, like a ton of damage. So obviously we disclosed that and had the price pretty high at one point, kept lowering it to the point where we were getting a bunch of offers on it. Lowball offers, pretty much. I was countering everyone and no one would bite. Eventually someone paid full price for it, which was $32. Very happy to get rid of those. And that's a pretty good price, I think. We were talking about last week, we sold a couple of BMW. I have a squeaky chair.
You have a squeaky chair. So you were talking last week, we sold 2 BMW shirts.
We sold 2 BMW shirts.
Back to back, within like minutes.
Yeah,
of each
within
other.
minutes. And now, again, this week, we sold another BMW item. This time it was like a soft shell jacket. I don't even remember buying this.
I don't remember buying it.
I think I bought it, but I just don't remember this item very well. But we ended up getting $45 for it.
Which is funny though, because like almost every item we have, if we look at it,
We remember it.
We remember like whoever bought it remembers like where they
Yeah.
got it, about how much it cost. And this one, like
This
both
one,
of us,
yeah,
we
not really sure why.
No idea, but it's a cool jacket.
It's a really nice jacket, and we got a best offer on it for $40 plus $5 shipping. We took it. Good deal. Oh, this is an interesting one.
Yeah.
You don't want to talk about it?
No, let's talk about it. So a good friend of mine knows that I sell stuff on eBay. He brought me a couple of souvenir American Girl doll tops from a American Girl store in Calgary. He was with his daughter. They were just giving them away. And he brought me these two. We listed them probably a year ago. And they
No.
No?
I just listed these about a month ago, maybe.
Oh, maybe I gave them
You
to
gave
you
them to
a
me
year
a year ago. One of those items that just sat around. Because
Right.
I didn't know what it was. I'm looking at it. I'm like, is this a shirt for like the world's smallest baby?
Child, yeah. But no, it was for a toy.
It's for a toy.
So it was a set of 2 identical shirts, and
And what did someone pay for these?
they were giveaways at the store. So these were free. They were like compliments of American Girl Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and somebody paid $22 after shipping.
Nice. Okay, so the last item in our cool flips is just a theory shirt. But the reason I think it's a cool flip is because I had so many offers come in on this shirt, and they were all so low. I even had people messaging about the shirt. I don't really know what's so special about it, but there was clearly a lot of interest. I wasn't getting the offer that I wanted. I kept countering, and eventually someone just bought it now, which was $25. So I'm happy to not deal with those offers anymore. The shirt's gone at a price that we want. Not sure what we paid for this, but probably around $5.
Yeah. What's the strategy? And this is like just kind of from my knowledge for the listeners. What's your strategy, at least when it comes to countering? So I think most offers we get that we consider low balls are 50% or less of the asking price. What's the strategy that you would put on countering or declining something like that, or taking even?
Well, there's so many things to take into consideration. So you have an idea of what your item is actually worth. You know how long you've had it listed for, and how much action you've had on that item. So I would definitely take that into consideration as well. Generally, I'm trying for the spend 5 on it, sell it for 25.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. Obviously, that kind of works out to be the average, maybe. But when you're just getting $10 offers on something that maybe you paid $5 for, I don't need to sell it for $10.
Right.
It
Maybe
doesn't.
like 2 years from now, different story.
Yeah, if I've had it for 2 years, I definitely have no problem selling it for $10. Sometimes even at a loss, I don't mind doing that just to move it. I think that could help with Cassini, if anyone's familiar with eBay's search engine algorithm. Just as we like to say, moving the chains. I think that's something that you always want to do. So whether it's low or it's high, you have to take into consideration so many different factors.
Right. So let's say you've taken into consideration the factors and you think it's worthy of a counter offer rather than an accept or decline. What's the strategy? So you want to sell it for 20. You paid 5, let's say. They offered you 10. Do you just go straight to like meet in the middle at 15, or do you hover closer to that $20 mark? Like, what's the strategy there that you would employ?
I found that the strategy doesn't work on everyone, so it's not always the same strategy I'll use. But I mean, if I gotta sell it, I'm accepting the offer because I'm afraid of losing the sale. If I need to counter it, I'll probably try to do meet in the middle if it's a reasonable offer. If I think that what I'm offering this person is reasonable and they should accept it, I'll definitely do a meet in the middle, and a lot of times I'll make that sale from there.
Okay.
I hope that answers that question. So now we're going to talk about some duds that sold. That's our music for duds. So actually, while we were recording last
how is this a
week's
dud?
podcast, well, the reason it was a dud is because we've had it for so long.
I know, it's so cool though.
It's a really cool Reebok pump t-shirt with that like classic pump logo.
Yeah.
And it's like bright orange. The Reebok pump logo is bright orange.
And it's big on the t-shirt, like right in the middle.
Right.
It's cool.
It's really cool. And we had it for like 3 years, let's say.
Yep.
Finally, I don't think we've ever had an offer on it, but finally someone bought it and they paid about $19 for it, which to me, whenever you're getting more than $15 for a t-shirt, it's good. T-shirts are a dime a dozen. You can find them at every single thrift store. They're usually really cheap at thrift stores. I don't know if I'd tell people to spend $5 on a t-shirt because a lot of times you're going to get $10 for that shirt and it's not worth your time. This one was okay because, $19. Took a long time though, so.
Is it on the spreadsheet?
I don't think it would be
about?
on this spreadsheet
No?
because this spreadsheet is so much older than
Ah,
that item too. So
that'd be cool if we could see it. Nah, I'm just looking at the spreadsheet now and I don't see it. So this is post spreadsheet.
this is definitely a post
So
spreadsheet, but we've had it for a while.
While the price isn't a dud price for a t-shirt, so we got almost $20, right?
This is a Li-Fi situation, and I'll talk more about Li-Fi later on. But I think it's a dud because you shouldn't have things that are there for 3 years. I really don't think so. We need to move stuff. You can't be a storage company. You need to be a company that is selling stuff and you're turning over inventory constantly. And when you keep buying things like this, they start to pile up. And even though, every now and then some of them are going to start moving and you're going to get a good price on it, it's still tying up your space. It's tying up your money. And you want to avoid them. Like if I saw this shirt again for $5 knowing I can get 20 for it, I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to pass.
So it's interesting that you say that. So I think over the last, let's say, year, we've started to move away from t-shirts, which is kind of what our bread and butter was at the beginning. We've started to get out of t-shirts and move into other categories a little bit more. We're definitely heavier in the women's section than when we started, and we didn't even go into the women's
Right.
section. Curious to see if this is kind of like a cyclical thing where, everybody kind of gets out of t-shirts at once, and then t-shirts kind of get in demand again, and people are paying up because there's less of them on eBay. Because right now, that's just, like you said, it's just crazy how many are out there. You can get them anywhere, and they're inexpensive, so it's an easy way for people to get in, just like us.
Right. Okay, so I want to talk about this dud that we sold very recently. And it's not exactly a dud because it's a pair of Michael Kors sandals. They're like a nice pair of sandals for women,
like
heels.
heels,
I don't know. I don't really know. They look nice to me, but the reason I'm saying that these are a dud is because we sold them today for $25. I accepted an offer of $20 plus $4.99 ship. And I was looking back in our email, and back in October, so we're talking 6 months away,
Yep.
6 months ago,
Yep.
we had an identical offer that we countered.
Ah,
So these could have been gone 6 months ago for the exact same price. Got greedy. It happens. Try to learn from it. Move on.
they are nice though, to be fair.
So the last dud I'm going to talk about is a pair of Aldo shoes. They're some wedge slingback heels. No, not heels. It's a wedge. Whatever it is. I don't know women's shoes that well. I just sell them.
You know them a lot more than you used to.
I know them much more than I should. Anyways, these we've had for a long, long time. I think I remember why we bought these. It was a 50% off sale at Value Village. And I'm like, Adam, it's 50% off. Go and buy every single pair of shoes you can find. Aldo, anything you know, just buy them. We're going to sell everything.
So that sort of happened. So we actually, for some reason, like a couple days before that sale,
we had just sold.
We had sold like 3 pairs of Aldo
okay.
shoes, and we were like, "Oh, we're all in on Aldo. They're so cheap to buy." So we were buying every pair of Aldo we could for under $7, and the sales, let me tell you, did not continue.
Yeah, we barely moved those Aldo shoes, and when we were getting nothing for them. So, anyways, this is a dud, but we still got $20 for it, but it sat for
2 years.
a good 2 years. Okay, we're going to move into the tip of the week. And my tip of the week is, I know I mentioned Li-Fi, which if you're not familiar, I know Carl's probably not familiar with Li-Fi, but Li-Fi means list it, forget it. I'm going to say throw out that philosophy, tweak as often as you can. I do it a lot, and I find that it really helps. I'll give you a really good example. I tweak my shipping policies. I'll turn free shipping on for a little bit, and then I'll turn it off and start charging for shipping. I'll put on some sales at 10%, and then I'll change it to 30%. I'm tweaking, and I'm really finding that it's helping to move more and more inventory.
Older inventory.
Especially older inventory. So don't Li-Fi everything. You got to move stuff. Don't be afraid to sell things for cheaper than you initially thought if you've had it for a long time. So that's it for today's podcast. This is episode 2 of Jandas World. Follow us on Instagram. What's our handle? It's jandas.world.
JANDAS.world. WORLD.
And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel where we post this podcast, as well as on iTunes, where the podcast is now live as well.
And please get in touch with us on Instagram and let us know how you think we're doing on this podcast. This is just something we kind of thought would be cool to do and talk about, and we really want to talk to whomever is listening, and hopefully there's going to be more of you in the near future. So, we could use your help, so please share it with other resellers. And Mom, if you want to play it for Grandma, that'd be cool too. So that's it for us.
Okay, thanks for listening.
See you next week.
See ya.
Down, down, chicka, chicka, down, down.